Dear students, hope you are safe and healthy. My name is Mudassar Abbas. I am a lecturer at Institute of Business Studies, Guwahati University of Science and Technology. My area of specialization is human resource management. This subject is about principles of management with the course code of BS 121, and this is chapter 3 with the video 2. In the previous chapter we discussed something related to culture, so let's have a brief review of what culture is in the next slide. So now we will discuss about the organizational culture. Organizational culture has been described as the shared values, principles, traditions, and you can say way of doing things that influences the way organizational members act. In most of the organizations, these shared values practices have evolved over time and determine to the large extent how they act or things are to be done around here. So our definition of the culture implies three things. First, culture is a perception. As we said, it's a common perception. It is not something that can be physically touched or seen, but employees perceive it on the basis of what they experience within the organization. Secondly, organizational cultures is descriptive. It is concerned with how managers perceive the culture and then describe it, not whether they like it or not. And then finally, even though individuals may have different backgrounds or work at different organizational levels, they tend to describe organizational culture in similar terms, that they shared aspects of culture. So we can say that culture is a common perception. Individuals describe organizational culture in similar term, and basically it's a descriptive term. Now there are many researchers that have done research on culture, and it suggests that there are 7 dimensions that can be used to describe the organizational culture. These dimensions, which we gonna discuss in the next slide, ranges from low to high, meaning it's not very typical of a culture. Low, or you can say when we say high, it means it is very typical of a culture. It actually describes organizations using these 7 dimensions, and it gives a composite picture of the organization. So we can say that it actually shapes the personality of the organization when we say that a culture that can be described as a personality of the organization. Okay, these are the dimensions that we were discussing about. As you can see that these are 7 in number. Now let's discuss each and every dimension a bit in more detail. The first one is attention to detail. As we can see that it ranges from low to high. So what actually is attention to detail? Basically, it's the degree to which employees are expected to exhibit precision, analysis, and attention to detail. This means that in the organization, how much importance is given to precision and detail working. So if the organizations are having more inclination towards precision and accuracy, we say that attention to detail is high, and if it is not so, we say that attention to detail is low. Similarly, the second dimension is outcome orientation. Now, what does it mean? It means the degree to which the managers focuses on results or outcomes rather than how these outcomes are to be achieved. So if the managers are more focused on outcomes instead of the way of achieving it, we say that outcome orientation is high. And if the managers are less focused on the results and outcomes, we say that outcome orientation is low. The third dimension that forms the organizational culture is people orientation. Now, what it is? It's a degree to which management decisions take into account the effects on people in their organization. That means if the organization is giving importance to its employees, or whenever any kind of decision is taken, that is taken while caring about employees or the effect of that decision on employees, we say that people orientation is high. On the other hand, if the decision is taken without taking into consideration what will be its effect on employees, we say that people orientation is low. So you can say that if the employee is more human resource focused, we say that it's a people orientation organization. And if they do not care about their employee, we say that it is not people oriented. So if we talk about the organizations in Pakistan, mostly we have medium to low people orientation, like if it is a public sector organization, or you can say if it is a government organization, the people orientation will be quite low, because most of the decisions in the organizations are taken without taking into account the effects of those decisions on the employees. But if we talk about private sector, we can find some organizations in the middle, but we rarely find any organization where the people orientation is high as compared to us. The organizations of Western world are in between high to medium, like they will be more focused on the employees of their organization. The next dimension is team orientation. So what actually is team orientation? It's the degree to which work is organized around teams rather than individuals. So actually in the organizations there are different working patterns. In some organizations there is a team structure and people are given tasks that are supposed to be completed in teams, while there are some other organizations where every employee is given task individually and he or she is supposed to complete it by him or herself. So if the organizations give tasks to their employees that are supposed to be completed in teams, we say that it is a team oriented organization, or we can say the team orientation is high. As compared to this, if the organizations give tasks to its employees and expect them to be completed individually, we say that team orientation is low. So the team orientation actually depend upon the way the tasks are performed, either they are individually or in groups or teams. Okay, the next dimension is aggressiveness. Now what is aggressiveness? It means the degree to which employees are aggressive and competitive rather than cooperative. So if in the organization the employees compete with one another, but they compete aggressively, that means that every employee try to lead while leaving behind his or her co-workers, we say that the aggressiveness is high. While if there is a environment of cooperation between the employees, like there is no leg pulling, there is no aggressive competition, rather every employee try to help his or her own colleagues or fellows, we say that aggressiveness is low. So we can say that aggressiveness also varies from low to high in the organizations. The next dimension is stability. Now what is stability? It's the degree to which organizational decisions and actions emphasizes maintaining the status quo. Now what is status quo first? The status quo actually means the existing state, or you can say the present state, the current state, or you can say the conditions in which the things are currently prevailing. So it's a degree to which organizational decisions and actions emphasizes on maintaining the status quo. So if in the organization the actions and decisions are taken that results in maintaining the current situation or the existing status, we say that stability is high. While if it challenges the situation, or if it challenges the existing state of affairs, we say that stability is low. So if the decision changes the current situation, we say that the stability is high. If it keeps on changing the current situation, we say that the organization is not stable or the stability is low. Now the last dimension that is very important in shaping the culture of the organization is innovation and risk taking. Now it's the degree to which employees are encouraged to be innovative and risk taker. So if in the organization innovation and risk taking is encouraged, we say that innovation and risk taking is high in this organization. And if contrary to this, employees are discouraged to be innovator or risk taker, we say that innovation and risk taking is low. So it also varies from low to high, but it is not necessary that organizations are either totally innovative or risk taker, or they are totally against innovation and risk taking. Most of the organizations fall in between the two extremes, like they fall between the two extremes of low and high. But some of the organizations such as Google, Apple, Huawei, or you can say Alibaba, these organizations are highly innovative and they encourage their employees to take risk. With risk, always remember that with risk comes high return, and when you do not take risk, you cannot expect high return. But this risk should be calculated. Like, you cannot blindly follow something, or you blindly go for something. Whenever in the organization employees take risk, they actually keep in mind something. They do different kind of calculations. They work on cost and benefits of the venture in which they are going. So the risk should be encouraged in the organization, but only calculated risk. Otherwise there will be some drastic impacts of risk taken without any kind of calculation. So you can see that there are 7 dimensions. We discussed one by one each and every one. Like, the first one was attention to detail, the second is outcome orientation, the third one is people orientation, the fourth one is team orientation, and the next is aggressiveness, and the other one was stability, and the last one was innovation and risk taking. So you can see these 7 dimensions, when they combine together, they actually shape the personality of the organization. So by looking into these dimensions, we can get a composite picture of the organization. Let's, for example, we take the example of Google. So Google, when we talk about Google, or when we listen about the Google, there is a certain picture in our mind. That picture is actually the reflection of these 7 dimensions. Like, we will say that if there is Google, or there is any product of Google that we are planning to buy, it will be formed, or you can say it will be produced with detailed accuracy. There will be more ethical issues involved in the production of that. Also the employees of that organizations will be the one who are taken care of. And similarly, we all know that Google's structure is team based, so it will be quite cohesiveness among the employees, and also they are more cooperative in nature, like there is no leg pulling among the employees. Similarly, the organization keeps on doing different things, so depending upon the situation, they try to alter their work patterns. And lastly, when we talk about Google, we are dead sure that something innovative is going to come in future. We can say that these 7 dimensions actually shape the culture of Google.